Thanks everyone for joining. As you likely know, I'm Adam Fritz. I'm the CEO of Pozotron. Really great to see so many of our publisher and enterprise customers joining the call today, because quite frankly, this feature is specifically directed at making your productions and your jobs much easier. Johnny, you want to give yourself a little introduction? I don't think I let you do that last time.
Yeah, no problem. Johnny, I'm Positron's customer outreach manager. I may have met you through support tickets or demos of Positron, but yeah, here to kind of support Adam on the webinar. I'll make sure any questions that you put in the chat get answered. And nice to meet you all.
Awesome. Yeah. And as Johnny mentioned, please use the Q&A box to ask any questions. You can use the chat to chat with whoever you'd like, or raise your hand and we'll let you ask your question by using your own voice. Okay, so we've launched a new project management feature that has been very long in development. What you'll see now is not a huge change in terms of the UI and the features, but what we've had to do is go back and completely change the way our enterprise permissions, so the way that projects are shared across your entire team, is done in the back end to allow us to have the foundation to build some really exciting features that'll further speed up the production value you get from Pozotron. So I didn't word that very well, but essentially what it's going to mean is it's going to continue to automate manual parts of your production process. Communication, simply like things like threaded comments. So you don't need to take things outside of Pozotron. You can just communicate on an individual pickup or an individual pronunciation entry inside of Pozotron and track it and tag other users. So what we've done is basically rebuild the back end of our sharing platform to enable us to release some very, very cool features moving forward. Okay, so today we're going to cover just high level what our project management feature is, what enterprise access actually means, what an enterprise roster actually is, what a project team is and how you set that inside of Pozotron, and then what our coming releases are going to include that will dramatically impact your team's ability to collaborate on their projects easier, faster, and more efficiently. And then we'll leave time to Q&A. We'll prompt you for Q&A afterwards, but also will allow, if you have any questions, please just raise your hand or use the Q&A box. Okay, so our project management feature, why did we change this? Really, we saw the future of how teams can collaborate inside of Pozotron, and the way our backend was set up originally, it's very common in development. You build something for a planned feature and then your plans change. So our backend, the way the sharing was set up, was not sufficient for what some of our publishing users were looking for in terms of the ability to tag individual users, add narrators to your roster who don't have a specific their own Pozotron account, and many other things. So we had to change it because essentially we had to rebuild the foundation to build a really fantastic house on top of it. What does it do? So currently, it allows you to do a few things, and I will get into that piece by piece. But currently, anyone that you had an enterprise sharing with, so enterprise sharing means they have someone who has access to every project you upload into your account, will not have changed. We have ported all of the existing enterprise permissions over into the new feature, but it will allow you to build on top of that. And we'll get into what next steps are for each of you and how we'd like to book a call with you to go over your existing enterprise setup. If you're not using our enterprise access features, I know I've had a call with a few of you already. We will send you a little bit of homework to allow you to allow us to set things up for you properly. And that'll really set you up in really, really good foundation for a lot of the features we have rolling out over the coming months. So an enterprise roster in this case is every person you want to easily and automatically share projects with, either on a project by project basis or everything inside of your tool. One big change is that we can't, so if Johnny's my narrator and I'll be just direct here, hates Pozotron for whatever reason, it does happen still from time to time, not as often as it used to though, and refuses to have a Pozotron account, you can add him or her, in Johnny's case, him, to your enterprise roster and still do things like tag him in pickups. So if you've got a multi-narrator project, you could tag at Johnny R and send him a pickup packet with that tag on it, even if he doesn't have a Pozotron account. Obviously, if someone doesn't have a Pozotron account, there will be some limitations in terms of project access, but the idea was you can add people to your roster regardless of if they have a Pozotron account. Enterprise access, again, that is, you want to give someone access to every project in your account, project managers, production managers, or company admins, that is a way to give them access to everything in your account with different permission levels. So if you have, just someone in accounting, you can give them billing access and things like that. So enterprise access means access to every project. Enterprise roster means anyone you want to share any combination of projects with. Okay, so your enterprise roster. So you can access, Johnny, can you see my Pozotron screen here?
Yep. Looks good.
So first thing, one of the things we're going to change is this dropdown was designed to be able to, let's say you are a freelancer and you are employed by 3 different production companies. You would be able to sort your page by which individual companies you want to see their projects. Unfortunately, the way it works, we've had a few issues. Let me just log into a separate account here, where the way the team designed it at the beginning was a bit confusing. So you do have 2 dropdowns. So you've got enterprise PR test at pozotron.com. That's the email that I used to create this account. You also see enterprise _ and then your email. This is basically the projects in your company enterprise account. These are the projects specifically tied to your own email. So that's a bit confusing. I have changed most of your company names in the back end. I'm going to go back into my other account here, to look more like this, where you see your email and then you see your company name. In this case, I added Pozotron Productions. If that was not done, please shoot us an email to hello@pozotron.com and tell us exactly what you want your enterprise to be named, and we can change that. So again, email is just like previously. If someone shared a project with your email address, that's where you access it. If you want to access your enterprise, this will either show your company name or enterprise_email@domain.com. To access your enterprise settings, you're going to click on your email up here and click on enterprise. Is grayed out. That just means you need to select this other drop down here. We are going to change that in a future release. The nice and unfortunate thing about development is it's very iterative. So, we can't be 100% perfect with the first release. So if you do have feedback on this or any of the other tools, please shoot us an email. Again, hello or help@pozotron.com, and we'll take that into account and add it into our future release plans. So enterprise roster. So this is a list of all users you'd like to share projects with and or tag in any annotation, pickup, or script prep entry. Currently, you can only tag people in pickups, but we are going, and I'll get into kind of future releases, exactly what you're going to be able to do. But currently, if you want to add someone to your roster, you click add to roster. If you want to add multiple people at the same time, there is an Excel template you can use to add, 100 people at a time very easily. But I'm just going to do it one by one here. So I'm going to add Johnny Freeman, Johnny@pozotron.com. And then in this case, I'm going to select which roles I'll be able to give him. And we will send a link around to exactly what these roles are. You can also click on this question mark here, and this should take us to the wrong link. So there's something we need to fix with what each of these roles are. So Johnny, can you just take a note of that? We need to add that to our new support page. So here I'm going to give Johnny, I want to give him, I can make him a narrator as well as a manager. So narrator is basically project by project. Manager is across the entire enterprise. Synchronized enterprise access basically means that person will also have access to your enterprise. So that will automatically give him manager role. If I click this, he has to have a Pozotron account for that to work. So click add to roster. So he is now on my roster as a manager, and also should be here as a manager and narrator, I should say, but I've also got him access at the manager level across my enterprise. So when Johnny then logs into Pozotron and he selects Pozotron Productions on this dropdown, he will see all of these projects that I'm currently seeing. Okay. So roster roles. Narrator is basically the view and edit permissions. Actually, you know what? Let me find those so I can show them. I probably should have had this open before. Which one would it be here, Johnny?
These are split into 2 support articles, one for enterprise, one for regular. If you do that one there, yep, there is a short explanation
there, perfect.
right here.
Nice. Okay, so narrator can edit all project details, but cannot delete things. And we will send a full chart with everything in the follow-up email for this as well. Proofer can view all details, but only edit the proofing side of things. Viewer has read-only access to your project details, and researcher can access and edit the script prep tools. Okay, enterprise access. So this is a list of all users you'd like to automatically have access to all projects in your enterprise account. So these are one thing, if you give someone enterprise access, you can't customize which projects they get currently. We are building a way to have what we're calling essentially an embargoed title. So then even though you upload it to your account, it would be hidden from everyone unless you specifically give them access. So that's for, the next, well, wishful thinking, the next Harry Potter, if one of you is producing it, obviously that's a very, very tightly controlled project, and you don't want everyone to have access to that. So we are going to be building the ability to flag something as embargoed or private, and even if they have enterprise access, you would have to add people to that. So that is coming in future as well. So roster roles, administrator, they can do everything. Manager, they can do almost everything. Contributor generally is going to be a mix of mostly view only with the ability to edit some things, and observer is just straight view only, no editing permissions. I can show you here. There we go. So managers cannot delete or reset projects or enter or edit who has enterprise access. Contributor can't delete anything, so they can't delete chapters, can't delete books, or view kind of your billing or account details. And then observer is only read-only access. Again, we will send you a link to this page afterwards. Okay, now this is where we get into where things are changing. So to add someone to your project team, you have to have them on your roster. So that's the first step. So what we would recommend is if you use that, jump in here, sorry. If you use this multiple people add to roster, I would recommend you put every narrator you ever assign a project to, every proofer you ever assign a project to, editors, all of those, add them to your list. The more comprehensive your list is at the beginning, the easier it's going to be later to then, rather than having to figure out, oh, we should have 110 people, we have 108, and figure out which 108 are on there. That's going to be kind of a pain. So the more comprehensive list you can give us or upload yourself at the beginning, easier it's going to be later. But then when you go into a project, what this allows, one of the first things we built is the ability to assign narrators to different projects. So in this case, I have assigned narrator Joe, chapter 1, narrator Susie Smith, chapter 2. I'm going to remove that. And then the other, well, let's call this chapter 3 here, even though it's labeled chapter 2 as well. I'm going to assign that to narrator Joe. And so what this does already, I've marked all of these as pickups. This will automatically mark chapter 1 and then this version of chapter 2 as at narrator J, I think. Anyways, I think it's first name, last initial, and it'll assign all pickups here to narrator S, as in narrator Susie Smith. So here I'm going to go import, export, pickup packet, export, and then you can see we've already got at narrator J, at narrator Susie S. So here we've already got, instead of having to do at narrator 1, at narrator 2, we've got that named entity where someone can click and see their own pickups. Currently, you cannot, as of yet, export just for at narrator J or at narrator Susie S, but that is coming here. The other thing you are able to do if you assign someone, for example, a proofing role for a specific chapter, is you're basically only giving, let's see, I could add, you can limit their access to certain chapters. So for example, if you've got narrator Joe who logs in, he would not be able to access the proofing for narrator Susie Smith's chapter. So again, a very easy way to limit access chapter by chapter, also to tag individual narrators on pickups and things like that. And again, if you have any questions, please stop me. How is this different than the share button? Currently, you can use both. So you can still, even if you assign a project team, you can still go up here, click share, and use the share button just as is. A couple reasons for this. One, this is a soft launch of the project management tool, so we wanted people to not have to fully change on a dime. They would be able to continue to use their existing share functionality. Two, as of right now, project management these features are only going to be limited to people with a publisher plan, which is, I guess, our publisher 25 plans and above. We will create the ability for people to upgrade their plan, even if they're not on, 25 hours a month or more. They will be able to pay an upcharge on all of our existing plans, but we haven't fully figured out the exact pricing for that yet. You'll also see on the share button, we've added having issues with this book. If you click share with staff, that'll give our team access and we can look into that. One thing also is our new get help button here, which allows you to provide a bunch of information, screenshots, details, and ours also tag the project. If you do this, this should, if it's not done yet, it will be soon. This will automatically share that project with staff at pozotron.com as well if you select a project here. So just making our support easier and easier, hopefully. Okay, so I showed you how you can assign chapter roles. Currently, that affects the pickup packets and proofing report, but the goal is you will be able to, tag individual users in a whole bunch of things, individual pronunciation entries and characters and things like that. Okay, any questions about the existing functionality that I've gone through? Chris, question. What is your question? I can allow you to talk if you'd like. All right, Chris, if you unmute your microphone, you can ask us live.
Excellent. Okay. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so phenomenal. Love the ability to assign chapters to narrator. That's absolutely fantastic for us. We use dual narration a lot. The thing that kind of kicked into my head that I'm curious about, is there a way to not have the narrator assigned for a chapter's responsibility be tagged in the pickup packet? Because we use dual narration, meaning that some of the recorded pickups might need to be both narrators, but if it's assigning the one narrator who is ultimately responsible in an editing way for the chapter, the pickup packet might miss pickups that they need to record, or the other narrator might need to record if we export the pickup packet relative to the narrator. So I guess what I'm asking is, is it going to be optional to have that whole, hey, assign the narrator tag to every pickup in this thing to the narrator that is assigned the responsibility for that chapter? I don't know if I'm being exactly clear in the question that I'm asking, but.
So basically you're saying you've got let's say you've got narrator Johnny and narrator Adam. Narrator Johnny does the odd chapters, narrator Adam does the even.
For editing, that would be for editing, but within speaking within each chapter, they're both going to be speaking, because they we have male and female narrators for every book usually, and so the males do the male voices and females do the female voices. Yeah. So if on the pickup packet we assign, say, chapter 1, Joe's going to be responsible for editing it, but Susie will have done stuff and may have made some mistakes.
Yeah, so it's more of a duet narration than a multi.
Yes.
So then what you wouldn't assign a narrator role here. We will add the ability to tag people, assign editing roles and stuff like that. In this case, I would just use this proofer tab here to assign those roles, because then it won't actually tag at narrator J, at narrator S in those names.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, I wanted to have kind of an optional ability, because I love assigning who's responsible for editing the chapter, but the pickups need to be specific to whoever actually made the mistake.
Yeah, so right now, for example, if I click and remove these, let's see if it works. There we go. So I've removed the narrator tags for everyone for narrator J.
Roger that.
Now I'm going to go back in, and I'm not sure if anyone actually knows this, by the way, but this actually updates live. So I'm going to click refresh.
Whoa, and that's a live update?
Then narrator J has disappeared. So there's no more narrator.
Okay.
So if you don't tag someone as a narrator, they are not automatically tagged in any of those annotations.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Adam. Appreciate it.
No problem. The other thing to note is I don't think it works yet, but the other thing here is you will actually also be able to tag in just in individual pickups. Currently, you can't, I believe.
Oh, yeah, that's how we do it now. We do the at narrator for pickups now, assigning it. Yeah.
But currently, you can't tag at narrator J in an individual pickup, but that is coming.
Oh, well, we do that we use narrator 1 and just assume that whoever's the primary for the chapter is narrator 1 and the other person is narrator 2. So you're saying when you add the person to the project, it will
exactly. You'll be able to tag them just in an individual pickup.
Oh, phenomenal. Oh, that's phenomenal. That's exactly what we need. Fantastic. Cool. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to kick you off as panelist here. Remove permission to talk. There we go. Okay, Josh, it appears you can only assign one proofer at the book role level will it be possible to assign 2 proofers to a book? Good question. Not currently. Let's see, let me go back here. I don't think that is currently possible. But open up the project team here. Let's see. Hold on, I'm going to need to go back into my enterprise for a second. Add a proofing role for somebody. Here. Proofer. To be honest, I don't know the answer. So this is one of those things that I will just figure out now. No, yeah, you're correct. You can only add 1 proofer to a book. You can assign proofer roles to different people here. So you can do it chapter by chapter, but not for the entire book currently. But that is something that we should add. So Johnny, if you can just take a note of that, that would be great.
Noted.
Also going to be adding an ability for you to bulk assign chapters. Obviously, you've got 200 chapters. Doing it doing it one at a time will be a bit time consuming. So the idea is we are going to be adding the ability to bulk assign chapters as well to individual narrators or individual proofers. Okay, any more questions? Yeah, for sure, Josh. That's going to that is in, if it's not in the development plan yet, which I'll have to look, it will be momentarily. Will the researcher role require having a Pozotron account? Yes, anyone who has access to a project, and by access I mean actually being able to open something other than just the read-only, proofing packets and the read-only pronunciation guides, like the online packets there. Yes, they will have to have a Pozotron account. That is for a number of reasons, but more than anything, it's to limit who has access to your data. That is the most important thing to us as a company, is ensuring that your data is secure and safe. So if you don't need a Pozotron account and you can access and download scripts and audio, that is worst case scenario for us, for you, for your customers, all of the above. So yes, you will still need a Pozotron account forever. That will never change to actually access a project beyond just read-only reports that you can send. Okay, next, releases. So I did refer to this, be able to tag individual users in pronunciation and character entries. So currently, let's say you've got an author, we've got 2 entries here that do not have anything added in terms of pronunciation or research. Currently, you can sort your list showing only incomplete, which shows only the things. So if I add, this shows anything that doesn't have both phonetic text and phonetic audio. But if I go to only empty, this will only show you the things that have neither. What we're going to be able to do is, if you tag, let's say you've got someone who speaks Spanish and there's some Spanish words in there that your narrator isn't quite sure on the pronunciation, you could tag @Johnny, and he would be able to come here and sort the list just by words that have @Johnny tagged in. Essentially, you're going to be able to assign pronunciation entries to certain people, same for characters as well. And that would be the ability to actually come in here, sort the list just by the specific items or specific entries that a single user has to pay attention to or contribute to. Individual annotations. So this would be an example. So for anyone who doesn't know the full Pozotron terminology, we consider an annotation as an open suggestion here that has not been tagged as okay or pickup yet. So you would be able to tag someone here. Let's say you don't know if this pause is okay at 2 seconds as the proofer, and this has to go to the editor, the project manager, to decide. You would be able to tag @Johnny, basically, need your decision here. And they would be able to come in, sort the list, and Johnny would say, okay, there's 1 of 16 annotations I need to pay attention to and decide on here. So the idea there is you can essentially assign decision-making roles that way. And then in pickups as well, just what I showed you, what we currently have ability to do using @narrator1, @narrator2, you'd be able to tag individual people who have been assigned to your project team. And that can be, an editor, a proofer, or a narrator. Redded comments. So this is a ways away, but I think is going to be tremendously important. Again, the ability to, if you tag someone in a pickup and they need to discuss it and have a little bit of a back and forth, the ability to have a threaded comment down to a specific annotation, pickup, or pronunciation entry. Also that you can then look back if you see if there's a mistake in your almost finished audio on the pronunciation of a word, you can go back and look at those comments and say, oh, well, Johnny was the one who said we should pronounce it this way. And then you can go back and discuss it and figure it out. Not necessarily to blame, but it's always good to be able to get to the bottom of an issue that way. automatic user notification. So this, I think, is going to be the most powerful part of the project management, the whole feature set. And that's going to be the ability to, if you assign individual roles, so you've got a narrator, a proofer, an editor, and maybe a mastering engineer, for example, what you would be able to do is you would be able to say, okay, so chapter 1, you assign your narrator who records, uploads their audio. You then assign a proofer. As soon as that audio for chapter 1 has been uploaded, Johnny, who's the proofer, gets a notification saying chapter 1 has been uploaded and is ready to proof. As soon as that chapter has been proofed by Johnny and Joe is the editor, then it goes back to a notification goes automatically to the narrator saying your pickup packet's ready to download. An automatic notification goes to your editor to say your DAW markers are ready to download. So we look at everything we can do as saving, anytime we can save you 5 seconds in doing one action, it's just as simple as sending a Slack message or sending an email to someone saying, here's your pickup packet. Over the course of a 7 or 10 hour audiobook, that's going to add up to a ton of man time saved, person time saved, geez, more inclusive language. So these automated project notifications are going to be really, really powerful to make it completely seamless to work as a team. As soon as something is done, you'd be able to click a button saying notify next user, and then that user would be able to go do their step in the process and onward and onward. Two-factor authentication. So we are going to launch two-factor authentication. Will editor be added as a role? Yes, it will. Johnny, if you can just make sure, we'll go look. There's a lot of GitHub issues for PM v1, so I need to go look at, make sure that's in there. So we are about to launch next week two-factor authentication. To start, just using the Google Authenticator app. We will be adding email and SMS authentication as well. This is going to be an optional feature to start. We will be making this a mandatory feature likely before the end of the year for a couple of reasons. One, we want to continue to make access to your data more and more secure. Two, it's industry best practice. Three, there are some customers that share, user logins across a bunch of people, and that's from an IT perspective, a definite no-no. And so that's definitely something we want to stop over time. So if you are currently a company, and I haven't reached out to you yet, that we know of that, shares logins, that is going to be not allowed probably by the end of the year. And that's strictly just a security thing. So if you have any questions about that, please reach out internally, or please reach out to me. We'll also be reaching out to you personally, everyone who has a publisher account, to have a follow-up conversation about your account and get everything set up. So please flag that as a topic of discussion when we get to that point. And again, that Google Authenticator app, I believe, should be supported starting Monday. Johnny's got his hand in the air. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, we have a question from Josh. Will editor be added as a role?
Yes, so it will, but if you can just take a note as a follow-up for that, Johnny, that would be awesome.
Yep, will do.
Okay, now this is some other stuff that I'm very, very excited for. My team will know I'm a huge believer in data and the value of analytics to a business. So my goal is to provide all of you with the data you need to improve your efficiency, to improve the quality of your productions. And this project management backend setup was essential to enable some of these reports moving forward. So I'm going to show you some mock-ups of varying qualities of a few reports: the proofer report, the narrator report, and our project estimation and scheduling tool. You can currently see the start of that estimation tool here, but this is just the framework for what it's going to be moving forward. So first, the proofer report. I had one, and some of these titles are an inside joke with our team in the book names, but this came out of a conversation where a publisher was worried that some of their proofers were just going in and clicking pickup on everything just to get through the proofing as fast as possible. So they asked for this report to be able to show, so chapter duration, let's say for Canada chapter 1, or I guess it's Canada A, user time on screen, you would be able to compare chapter duration to user time on screen. So 1 hour and 35-minute chapter, 1 hour and 30-minute on screen. That means they definitely did not actually listen to all of the audio in that chapter. Here's an example: user time on screen 1 minute for a 40-minute chapter, very clear there, and also the percentage of Pozotron annotations marked as pickup. Going back in time, I've been pretty clear on this publicly. Our company did not, back 2018, 2019, as a young startup, definitely didn't train our users as well as we could have. So we got a lot of blowback when someone was coming and ticking pickup on everything Pozotron flagged and sending a pickup package to a narrator with 200 pickups in it. They would say, oh, Pozotron's the worst. It's ruining audiobooks because I just got 200 pickups that aren't real. This is where you would be able to actually report what percentage of those annotations are being marked as a pickup. Once narrators upload files, can we change the name if they don't follow the company's preferred format? Yes, you can. You can actually do that currently. So if you can just click here and change the name of this. So I could change this to but you can do that currently. We are adding some tools to be able to actually see, to put in using our audio analysis tool to be actually able to test against your specific name formats. So you would be able to just upload all of your audio and then just show the ability to using what's called a regular expression to ensure that every single one of your chapters follows your preferred naming conventions. So that is something that correct. That does not currently work. But the good news is you're not going to need to add the @narrator tag anymore, because that's why we have this project team function. So having to add @narrator1, @narrator2 in an MP3 file in your actual audio file before you upload is no longer necessary using this project team and assigning chapter by chapter narration roles. So hopefully that makes sense, Ashley. Okay. And then it also showed the number of user created pickups in a chapter. So that's where you click and highlight, click the speech bubble and create a yellow pickup. That's what we call a user created pickup. Okay, narration report. I'll be honest, we'll probably get some blowback on this, but this is something that this came out of a conversation from a couple publishers actually, where they said, look, we're on a really tight timeline for this book. And so we can only select narrators that we know make very few mistakes because we just don't have time for a ton of pickups in this book because we really have to get this out fast. So this would be the ability, again, a lot of these project names are inside jokes with the team. And what you'd be able to do here is this will report on the total duration they narrated, the total audio in minutes and hours, the total number of pickups in that audio, and the pickups per hour. I want to be very clear, make sure I've got this on record. The goal is not to weed out the narrators who make more mistakes than others because it's not a binary, are you accurate or not, in terms of making you a good narrator. This is to give production companies more data to inform better decisions. So we're not trying to ostracize the narrators who make more mistakes than others. This is simply to give you and your casting department more information and more data to make better decisions. Finally, the project estimation and progress tool. So currently, when you go into this estimation tool, it is based on industry averages. It scans your script, gives your, Johnny, I think we have a bug here. If you can take a note here, this is showing 0 words narrated. But you've got your script total words. Narrated total is usually a count of all the words in your audio file, but I've got 3 audio files and that's showing 0 words currently, so there's a bug we need to fix. But what this does, this calculates 2.12 hours to narrate in terms of actual time worked, based on the industry standard of 3 hours of work to record 1 finished hour of audio. Proofing, same thing, 1.5 hours of work to proof 1 finished hour, and editing 2 hours to edit 1 finished hour. Eventually, through the project management tool and actually having data on how long it takes people to do things, we will actually be able to estimate how long it will take your team based on actual data inside of Pozotron. So this is going to be a longer term feature, but the idea here is you're going to be able to take actual data, give a good estimate on how long it'll take your team to do all the work. And then you'll actually be able to plug that work into a calendar invitation where you can say, I know Johnny is going to take him 18.72 hours to narrate this. He tells me he can only narrate for 3 hours a day because of whatever limitations. And then so you can actually go schedule, hey, I need to book 3 hours in my calendar every day for the next 6 days or 6 and a bit days to be able to complete that work. So these are all the kind of automations that we're looking to build through the project management tool. Next steps. First of all, any questions about anything that I just showed? Going once, going twice. Okay. So next steps. You will receive an email. I'll be honest, it's an automated email sequence, but I believe it's going to come from me, if not from Daria, our customer success manager, where we're going to try and set up a one-on-one call with whoever, well, it can be many people with Johnny and I on the call. So one-on-one's not the best way to describe it. But the idea here is we're going to have a call with you about your current team and your current workflow and see what you need from us to be able to get this set up correctly for you. After that, we will, as part of that, we'll do kind of a workflow consultation to see what ways we can help you optimize things by using everything inside of Pozotron. We'll give you a quick demo of exactly what we're working on right now so we can get your feedback as well. And then finally, please tell your team as they're playing with this, please use the get help button here, either to get help when they need it, or we pride ourselves on customer support, and based on almost 2-month customer support journey I've just had with one of our own software providers that was just fixed today after 35 calls. It continues to impress on me the importance of giving you all the best quality customer support, because a bad customer support experience is very disheartening. But the idea here is, if you need support, please use this get help feature. That is the best way to do it. If you have feedback on any of our tools, you can use that, or you can just send us an email to hello@pozotron.com as well. Please tell your team, honestly, we're big believers in negative feedback because it just allows us to improve things. We don't want you just to sit silently seething that something doesn't work the way you want. So please tell your team. We mean this with all sincerity. We do want you to give us that feedback. Okay, that is everything we had to cover today. Does anyone have any questions? Or Johnny, do you have anything you want to add as the person who responds to most of our customer support emails?
Just that I am available for any help requests, scheduling any consultations. Just don't be shy about that get help button.
Josh, good question. No, there is not a timeline for being able to access some of these new features via the API. We are planning an update to our API functionality as part of adding on a major new publishing customer, but let's just say I'm not getting emails back as fast as I'd like in terms of their requests. If anyone who is an API user does have requests, specific things you want to add to that functionality, either part of project management or not, please send us an email, because I would imagine that the goal is to have that API updated before the end of the year, but I don't have an exact timeline. So Josh, I know we've talked specifically about a couple things you're looking for, but if you have more suggestions, please shoot us an email. And Johnny, if you can just take a note of that as well. I just need to discuss that with Slav. Thank you. Okay, doesn't look like we're going to have any more questions. Without further ado, thank you very much for joining. Really appreciate your time. And as always, if anything comes up, please don't hesitate to reach out. Okay.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.